just wanted to show you guys something that someone sent me in the mail. It's awesome. I'll have his link in the sidebar, but look at this. $500 million from Zimbabwe. Maybe this will give you an idea of what's going to happen to our currency. Behind that is a $5 billion note. And behind that is a $10 billion note. And behind that is a $50 billion note. Then drum roll please. $10 trillion. I don't know if any of you have heard this story, but it's on Gold is Money forums, and it's a pretty credible source. I don't know him personally, but this is a registered user named Twisted Avatar. He has 20,000 plus posts, so you can kind of take it with a grain of salt that this guy probably is telling the truth. But here's the story, and I'll have a link in the sidebar to it. This guy apparently spoke with a personal assistant to Secretary Geithner, and here's what he had to say. When I x-ray my patients, I always make some modest small talk. Many are extremely anxious, and I usually ask them about family or work. Well, this gentleman drops a bombshell on me when he told me he works at the New York Fed. I said, well, damn, you must know Geithner. Drops another one on me when he says he worked with the man close to 20 years. It was at this point, all you heard was click, click, the exam room door being locked. There was no way on planet Earth this guy was getting away from me without spilling the beans. So we talked a bit about BHO, and he said nothing seems to work. Every plan ends in a thud. I interjected saying, and everyone will, because he's exploding the money supply at the speed of light. He agreed. I then inquired about Geithner. He just said he was an extremely busy man before he got tapped to be secretary, but he did disclose that during the massive meltdown last year, he remembered many times Geithner was at the New York Fed all night long, and lots of screaming could be heard from the meeting rooms, in particular around the time of the Bear Stearns collapse. I wanted to press him for more information, but he became uncomfortable. I could feel it. He then confirmed it will get very bad very soon over here. I certainly agreed with that line of thinking, and I told him that's why I buy as much of this as I can. I pulled out a silver baggie full of Mercs, Walkers, and SAEs. When he saw the silver, he did the strangest thing. He looked at the silver, then he looked at me, and then he drew a sly smile, the kind of smile that says, you know. I said, you're damn right I do. I'm a student of history. Well, from that point, he then proceeded to tell me a story about his homeland, Albania, in 1967, where there was a terrible earthquake that leveled a lot of the country. In the aftermath, the Albanian government gave each citizen loans of 5 million dinars at like 1% interest to rebuild, easy terms. That was an unheard of amount of money, and a lot of people refused, but a good many took it. He said within 3 scant years on the incident, 5 million dinars could only buy a pack of smokes. He said the same thing is coming to America, and it will be many, many, many times worse. He said Americans have forgotten the lessons of their history. When they open a fridge, they think food just magically appears, or when you turn a faucet or clean drinkable water comes out. They do not understand all the hard work and the miracle of industry that makes it all possible. And they certainly fail to comprehend just how fragile it is. We talked a bit more, but nothing major, and I did tell him to pick me up 1 gold bar when he goes back to work, as I'm sure Mr. Rothschild won't mind. He didn't catch that one, as far as I can tell. I will say this, he was very adamant about hard assets being the only avenues of protection. I spoke about land, and he disagreed because he said the value of land can be destroyed through sky-high taxes and stringent regulations. He just said hold on hard assets that are portable and private for the foreseeable future. So here's my interpretation. Sisters and brothers, it won't get much clearer than this. Everything we have been talking about for years is rapidly coming to fruition. I would not suppose to be in the location today, so I know I meant to get this message, and I know I was meant to pass it along to family. Batten down the hatches, everybody. Allocate all possible funds to tangible assets, silver, gold, anything you buy too. What has happened abroad will happen here, believe it. Guys, if you haven't checked out my website, inflation.us, please check it out. Recommend it to friends and family. The total purpose of this website is to inform Americans about hyperinflation and prepare them. On a side note, one of the theories, or actually it's proven facts, is when you have a large amount of debt, when hyperinflation kicks in, most of that debt is wiped out due to the fact that, everyone's awash in dollars and your debt becomes small in comparison to the amount of dollars out there. Well, here's a theory I haven't heard of before, which is very scary, that the government could do to counteract that. Listen to this. What could happen is after the government pays off all their debt with the inflated dollars, they change the law and revalue everyone else's debt into a new currency, or tie the debt to inflation to make sure that all of us are still slaves to the debt. There may be a small window to follow the government's lead. Once you see or hear of the government paying off its own debt in inflated dollars, which will probably be celebrated and announced nonstop, that's your chance. You need to pay off all your debt as well. From that point, it could be any day that they would change the law and break in a new currency and somehow tie you to your debt. It's a scary thing, but I think this is a logical possibility.